Welcome to Hospitality. My name is Stefan Zarnecki of Black Tie Tours. With me, as always, Wesley Jones of Tour Cascadia and local artist Cole Rogers.
I know.
And we have a couple guests with us today. They are food magicians here in the Willamette Valley. Icons, even in my mind.
Thank you.
They are the culinary team of from the Black Walnut Inn here in the Dundee Hills. Zach Ehrlich and Chase Williams. Welcome, boys.
Hi, nice to be here.
How's it
Thank
going?
you.
Yeah, you made it. We did it.
Long time.
We're
no
here.
see.
I know.
We're doing it.
Because we've been wanting to film up here for a while, and you guys were like, "Hey, let's do it."
Yeah.
And we
it's
finally
time.
found a good time.
You were.
It's harvest. None of the wine people, the winemakers, want to talk to us.
Yeah.
Because they're just up to their eyeballs in grapes and everything. So this worked out perfectly.
Nice.
We got started a little late, but behind us, I promise, is a beautiful view.
It's beautiful.
You're gonna see. I'm gonna cut in all these wonderful pictures and drone footage. Cole took some great footage.
Yeah,
So
the sunset was incredible, actually.
Yeah.
You can still see the light kind of behind.
Yeah, a
West and
little
Chase.
bit that way.
I might be biased, but I mean, it's in my top 5 best views in the valley. Definitely.
It is
Yeah.
way up
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, I mean,
it's
Hood
super
right
solid.
there, Jefferson, Prince Hill right here in the background.
Yeah.
It's killer.
Not too bad. And we want to come up today and talk food. Food was one of the main reasons because you guys do an amazing paired tasting, and you're gonna hit us today with a little bit of nibbles that tell us what you're gonna be cooking.
Yeah. Good. You want to talk about the first?
So the first course is we love raw seafood here. So it's a little tuna sashimi with a little herb salad and some juice of jalapeno, cilantro, and apple.
I will eat that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice, fresh.
Kind of like end of summer, the last
No,
of the
that-
peppers.
Oh,
That sounds right up my
Some
alley.
pickled peppers on there too that will
Okay.
get us through the winter. And yeah,
Do you serve it by the bucket?
sounds delicious.
by the
Or-
pound.
I
By the pound, deli style.
yeah. Barbecue style.
Yeah.
Everything by the pound.
yeah, please.
Yeah. And then next we're doing like a heirloom white beans cooked down in like some actually tomatoes from Pollinate Boys right down the street.
Yep. Excellent.
So we get in, all the tomatoes that we can get from them every year and do all our own canning and stuff. So these beans are cooked down in their own tomatoes with some braised short ribs on top of that and a little gremolata. So,
And the
simple,
beans,
but
Can't go wrong with that.
delicious.
the beans are finished with a miso paste that we made in house from 100% fermented chilies.
You
Yeah.
guys are
Yeah.
you guys are crazy on the fermented.
Yeah, it was a total just
Yeah.
like we had made so much hot sauce over the year, and then we got delivered one more round of peppers, and we were
Yeah.
both like, "What the hell are we gonna do with this right now?"
We both walked into the kitchen, and John and Jeremy from Pollinate were just like, we'll just randomly drop stuff off on our butcher block
We're
in
their
the
guinea
kitchen,
pigs.
and like we walked in, we're like, what the fuck is this?
What is-
We thought we were done with peppers.
It's
So, like,
Christmas.
it's like, okay, well, let's just figure something out. And
Well,
we
no,
ended
you-
up making 4 different misos. And they all turned out so different, but so cool. And so we're
That's
just
fun.
now figuring out ways to incorporate it into the food.
That's exciting.
Yeah. Well, we're happy to taste test.
Yeah.
And sorry, what are we drinking?
Cool. So yeah, this is actually the first wine produced by the current Black Walnut team. So this is called the Pflaume is the name of it, which means plum.
Junk?
Junk?
Yeah.
No, it means plum
junk?
in German. So there's like a really cool story behind it. Rick and Erica Miller are like the owners of this place out of Lake Oswego, and Rick's like a 7th generation winemaker, or not winemaker, 7th generation Oregonian.
Right.
And his great whatever grandfather named Henry Mueller, because German immigrant, Mueller translates into Miller. Was actually one of like the first to cross the Oregon Trail. Actually has some of the original maps and journals. So his maps are in the history archives for being the most detailed maps of the Oregon Trail. And they actually pulled the font off of his personal handwriting. Like this is his font for the label. And he's responsible.
Great touch.
Yeah, and he's responsible for bringing Italian plums over and started a nursery like southwest of Portland.
Huh.
And then like,
They were huge here in this area, the Italian plums. Yeah.
this hilltop was actually once planted to the Italian plums that he brought over. There's invoices from his nursery, the Mueller nursery, at one point. And then you fast forward more, Rick and Erica are looking for some places out here. They settle on this place obviously we all kind of knew the previous owners, the Etzes, who like, awesome, love what they did with the area, and just like was a classic. We still get guests that have been coming here for, 10 years every year because of, what they did. And now it's just like a little transition, but also like there's some history here from the owners now too that they didn't even know about.
Right.
That is so crazy.
It's so serendipitous.
Wow.
So
it's crazy.
What a great name too.
When guests come book at the Black Walnut, what can they expect? Like obviously, beautiful views and everything like that. But what makes it special? What makes this an amazing place?
Yeah. Go ahead.
I mean, start off the view.
Yeah.
As I said, I said in my top 5, it's probably in my top 2.
Yeah.
But team of very talented, passionate people that will help guide you with places, recommendations that you might want to go. Beautiful rooms. All rooms are different in their own little way. Some rooms have, the more expensive rooms have better views, but every room has its own quirk. Like one room without a view, room 5 has its own personal little garden patio with a fire pit back there.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So you're going to be happy with whatever room you end up with. Breakfast every day.
Yeah. First and foremost, we're a bed and breakfast on a vineyard.
Right.
And so like the breakfast we really go for it. A lot of times when you say it, a bed and breakfast, it's like continental style.
Sure. This will
like
sustain me.
Yeah.
But
scrambled eggs that were scrambled hours ago or whatnot. This is a full menu. You sit down, expect to be seated for 45 minutes or an hour. You get your breakfast. Everything that we do is sourced locally. If it is produced locally, obviously we have like fresh squeezed orange juice that we're not going to get oranges from Oregon, obviously, but everything, like we do have a creative juice that we call it, which is like, right now we have beets and carrots and a few things on it that we're getting from local farmers in the area. So if we can get it, we source it, and that's just the mentality.
All our flour, our oatmeal comes from Camus Country Mill outside of Eugene, so about 80-ish miles from here.
And that's the furthest thing that we source local. Yeah.
Gotcha.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Man, so obviously you do the breakfast every day, but there's more that you do with food.
Yeah. So a few of the guest experiences that we do like a, an AVA tasting is one of them that we're doing. So we kind of, generally Zach's menu is geared towards the wines that we're pouring. And these tastings happen to be kind of like, a lot of times we get guests that are first time to the Willamette Valley, don't really know what to expect. A lot of the wineries that they looked at were like on some list that they read about on Google. And so the tasting that we do, you get 6 wines, and it's paired to, and it's like a tasting of the whole Willamette Valley and each AVA type thing. And so it's really nice to be able to, we have no ties with any of these producers.
Just people we like and people we want to support.
Yeah.
And
we go
Jonathan
tasting.
have a good story.
Yeah, we have a good
and
story.
the wine's
We
good.
go tasting as people that we just fall in love with and that are doing something maybe a little bit special or different. And so like, showcase them and see how we can represent the valley. And then also if somebody likes that wine, like, hey, if you like it, cool, go taste there, because this is just one of multiple wines they make that you should probably try.
Right. Sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, people are here for 2 nights, maybe 3 nights sometimes, and they have 1 day of wine tasting, and you can do maybe 3-4 in a day. But you sit down here and you can get a little bit more kind of scale. Of what
then
the
it's
valley
generally
offers.
5 to 6 different food items, none paired specifically with any of the wine, but all very food friendly for the wine. And it's a fun exploration for people to like figure out what they like, which food they like with which wine, and to even figure out why they don't like that food with that wine, and to really like carve their own path. Because with wine and food, it's like, this should taste good together, but it's up to you. If you like it together, then
Absolutely.
cool.
It's totally subjective.
Yeah.
Now, do you have to be a guest at the Black Walnut to experience this tasting, or?
Yeah, so we offer the AVA tastings, and then pre and post COVID we'll be doing ATV tastings, which is where like our vineyard manager and winemaker is like the same guy, which is also pretty fucking cool.
That's rare.
Super rare. you jump in one of our like badass little ATVs, and he takes you on a tour around the property, and then you end with a bottle of wine and like a little picnic out here on the patio.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the AVA tasting, and those are open to the public. Yeah,
That's cool.
The ATV not right now because of COVID reasons, but
Yeah,
AVA is rolling great.
Do you think with the ATV you could get like a little red wagon and put the people in the wagon, then you just tow it? And then it's not quite so.
For COVID.
the way Ryan drives, I
Yeah, I
want to go
wouldn't do
no.
that.
You could use this idea if you.
Yeah, yeah.
And we went golfing today, and our golf cart had like a plastic sheet in between the seats, and we're like, "This is stupid."
Oh my God, John. Well, good thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it totally
it's-
stopped COVID.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Is that just a frog?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, trying to become famous.
Yeah. We are actually outside and not. In front of
Yeah,
the green
no,
screen.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
It's
Nature,
natural.
exactly.
It's well, we can be unmasked and we can let the air flow.
Yeah.
So, frog, we'll just deal with you. But okay, so you also do some dinners and stuff too, right?
Yeah. So this is like one of those twofold things. Pre-COVID, it's pretty much starting high season, which Memorial Weekend is kind of what we equate that to. We start doing dinner series, and in the spring and early summer we do like a winemaker series, where we'll pick a winemaker, usually we know or we're friends with or something.
Somebody who isn't a huge dick and you
Well, yeah.
work with.
Well, it literally started with us, like, it was winter and we're bored, and we're like, we want
I'm
to
fermenting
cook
everything.
food.
I can't ferment anything else. What are we gonna do?
There's nothing growing. We don't know what's happening, and so like we literally like, hey, here's some of our winemakers. Ryan, our vineyard manager, has worked really closely with a lot of local winemakers. And so we're like, hey, you know anybody that would want to bring some wine? We'll cook some food, and we'll just invite some friends. And so this like little like friend invite dinner thing evolved into now what we call the winemaker series, which is usually 5 or 6 wines paired to a 5-course dinner. We'll meet with the winemaker,
They'll taste us through it.
taste us through the
take
wines.
notes.
Yeah.
That sounds like fun. I
Yeah.
mean, and Jay McDonald was one of your
Done
people.
Jay. We've
And-
done Robert Britton, which was a fun one.
Yeah.
Izzy
It's nice to have people who can put on a show.
Eveningland.
Yeah.
Some of these winemakers, some of them love a crowd.
Yeah.
Like people who will just sit there and fawn on their every word.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
like some of the winemakers just eat that
Except
up.
Robert.
Oh, yeah.
Others,
No.
yeah.
And then you
Robert's
get
really
the
shy around
winemakers
crowds.
that until you start talking about wine, they're shut down. But
Yeah.
the second
Bro.
wine's mentioned, it's like brighten up
Come
and
alive.
like they're
A
they're
whole
up, they're
new
talking, they're walking,
world.
they're doing
exactly.
like gestures, like
Yeah, they don't want
talking pH levels, and everybody's like, I don't know what you're talking about, but I love you,
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it
Absolutely.
sounds like a lot of fun. I'd love to check one of those out.
Yeah, and then in the summertime we start what we call the anthology dinner series, which is more in depth.
8 to 11 courses. Not all Oregon wine pairings. It's our chance to like play with wines that you can't get from here.
Yeah, when a lot of times we'll do a Chardonnay and a Pinot from the Willamette Valley, and then everything else, maybe even a sparkling sometimes.
Yeah.
And then everything else will be international.
So people could come to all of these
Yeah.
and get something different.
Generally, and this is all pre-COVID.
Right.
But then during COVID, we kind of opened up and we did this like slow open and, taking super extreme precautions for COVID. And then like, where are people going to go to eat? At
Yeah.
that time, very few places were open and a lot of it was takeout. And
Yeah.
so we're like, why don't we just start offering dinner? So the patio we're sitting on now became our,
Dining room.
dining room, and we just started offering like a 3-course, 5 apps, 2 entrees, 3 desserts, pick one of each, set price, pre-fee, and then an awesome wine list dedicated to Oregon. Yeah. So we have some killer wines on the list that I don't know if they exist anywhere else in the valley, just because like the owners of this place went and tasted there 2 years ago,
Brought
bought
home
2
a case or
cases,
whatever,
yeah, and now we have 2 cases to sell, type thing. So yeah,
You guys have a fun cellar. I've been in there.
yeah, it's crazy.
There's all kinds of stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, what's the best way for folks watching to find out about these events or sign up for them?
Get on our newsletter, definitely.
Yeah, quick
which-
email
yeah.
to stay at the Black Walnut vineyard or
It's the Black Walnut Vineyard.
Black
Singular.
Walnut Vineyard singular.com.
Okay.
Or just get on the website because a lot of this information's on the website.
Cool.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've been up here before, and I've heard rumors about things happening. What can you tell me about exciting changes at the Black Walnut in the future? Can you spill beans on anything?
Stefan wants the tea.
Give me the tea. Come on.
Well, I mean, as of right now, we are kind of in this right now we're a 9-room inn on a vineyard, but also hopefully potentially looking to expand a little bit. Not quite sure what that means as of right now, but bright future type thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exciting.
Yeah.
So theoretically,
If I say any more, I'm gonna get sued and lose
We're on
my
NDAs.
job. Yeah.
all right. Well, you have this is a beautiful property,
Thank you.
incredible food program, tons of potential.
Yeah.
Obviously, love it up here. All of our guests, have been having a ball.
Thanks.
Food. You guys live in the valley, and obviously work in the valley. Where do you guys like to eat?
Man, I have an Asian obsession, and to be honest, Bangkok Noi, the Thai food cart, is where I
Mac,
frequent.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh.
no, the one in downtown Newburgh.
Yeah.
Super solid.
Oh, that food cart.
Yeah.
I had no idea that was the
Bangkok
name.
Noi.
Oh.
Yeah,
My wife
best.
loves that one.
she's a badass.
Yeah.
Her curries are honestly some
It's
of the
not
best
fast
I've
food
had.
though, right?
No,
Like,
it's not.
They
It's
literally
real.
say that on the sign. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Fast food.
I
You're
waited
gonna wait.
45 minutes and it's been perfect. You know?
Yeah, she loves. Yeah, it's so good.
Paul Bouchon recipe. He's a friend of ours and super solid chef.
What I love about Paul and Recipe is there's our palates sync up in terms of what we like to eat. He almost always has like escargot, steak tartare, oysters, and foie gras.
His escargot and gougères, super
yeah.
good.
Yeah, dynamite.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
cheers to Paul.
And his
Well done.
steak tartare.
Yeah, steak
Killer.
tartare is
Like,
honestly one of my
serve
favorites.
it on
Super
some
solid.
potato chips. Like,
Yeah.
sign me up
Oh,
all day.
yeah.
Yeah,
that's
the
right.
recipe
God,
two one
yeah.
is so
they're
good.
really good.
Yeah.
Sounds amazing.
What about you, Chase?
Oh, man. Okay. Let's see. Just for some, well, if we're talking about just going out to eat, Daario at Rosemarino, he's pretty killer.
We're gonna get him on.
Not only is the food really good, but then almost 900% of the time he swings by the table,
Yeah.
and you end up doing limoncello shots with him, and you're like, "What am I getting into? How
the hell am I gonna get home?"
Yeah, and his food is literally just like, I've gotten the chance to work with him a couple of times, and he's literally told me like, this is my grandma's bolognese recipe, so like it's like, and he didn't do anything different, and it's like, I've sent some to my grandma, or like she's tasted it and she will tell me exactly what I'm doing wrong, and to fix it,
That's the way it should
When
be.
he's
Yeah,
one of
yeah.
those chefs too that's there 16 hours a day.
Yeah.
Like, without exaggeration,
a
he's
lifestyle.
there
Yeah.
4 hours before anybody else.
Yeah, and his wife is like
closes
in the
up.
front of house just running things like
Old
a
school.
boss. Yeah,
Old
it's
school.
exactly. It's
Love it.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that would definitely, put that on my number one.
Very good.
Yeah. And they sell fresh pastas and
Yeah.
stuff out of the front door. So,
Yeah.
if you're just wanting to pick up, some fresh fettuccine and then take it home to boil,
We'll have
it,
to
done.
go sometime after mushroom hunting and do the double pasta. This is the habit I've done where you go and you just sit down and you say, I will have this pasta and I will have that pasta. Bring them both.
Yeah.
Just double entree.
Yeah, yeah. Perfect.
There's no shame.
No.
You've just hunted, for
What if you have
6
leftovers?
hours or whatever. And
Leftovers?
wait, what?
Trust me, I don't have leftovers. I have trouble finishing Dario's dishes.
We'll get you whipped into shape. We'll get you whipped into shape.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna
There's
take a
the
little
one out of
break.
chips, Evelyn.
We're gonna eat a little tuna sashimi, yummy yum, and back in just a little bit. All right, welcome back to Hospitality. We just had the pleasure of enjoying a tasty dish.
God, it was delicious.
The tuna sashimi with mint and little crispy fried garlic and little microgreens or whatever that was.
Thai
And
basil,
Thai
cilantro.
basil. And mint. Yeah, it was
And
Cilantro.
peppers.
so fresh tasting, like
That
almost
was-
like that could almost be like a palate cleanser you know, in like a 9-course dinner or something.
Yeah.
like
It's
that.
something
Just
that we would like. It would be like a first or second course in a dinner that we would do in like a 9-course
Yeah.
dinner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
I was really
well
sad
done.
when my plate was empty.
Me too.
Yeah. Again, the bucket option. I'm just going to throw that out there.
Well, I will say that, I mean, Zach and I actually used to live together. Fun fact. But when Zach and I lived together, he once told me about, you know, trusting the chef and then trying to balance essentially all the flavors, right? I don't want to name them all, but spicy, salty, sweet, umami,
Yep. Bitter.
I felt like that it was a perfect example of that. It really captured like the balance of a good dish, and then the pairing with the Chard that we're drinking right now.
Oh,
Yeah.
That
Yeah, it
was
was
the
just
best
like
part.
A little Big Table
Nice.
Farm.
Yeah,
Oh, Big
Yep.
Table Farm.
Big
Sign
Table
me
Farm
up all
journey.
day.
Credit
Yeah.
to the farmers on all of it. Like,
there you go.
we are trying to not
ingredients.
mess up good ingredients.
Yeah.
We're just trying to showcase them because we try and source local quality. It's like, why would we like try and alter them so much?
Right.
Yeah. But we're here to featuring you guys because this food program is special. This is not your average B&B where maybe they do a nice job with breakfast and everything. Black Walnut food program is just it's better. There's something special that's going on here, and it's you guys. So
Thanks.
bravo,
Thank you. Yeah.
well done.
Absolutely.
Looking forward to next course.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Us too, actually.
And I'll keep
I'm fucking
just
hungry.
massaging. I'll keep massaging your ego so you keep feeding me. This is how I work.
Perfect. Yeah,
Yeah.
love it.
Well,
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm excited too for the day that Black Walnut is the hospitality space is synonymous with the food program. So I feel like that's a thing that a lot of people don't. They know it as a beautiful place to stay, but don't necessarily know that the food program is as excellent as it is. So I'm excited to see you
I
guys
completely
Nice.
agree.
Thank you.
actually
Thanks.
move into that space.
All right. So let's talk about top 5 wineries with food paired tastings. Okay. So we're talking about a winery that will serve you essentially a lunch, and they will, you know, it's going to be paired, but, you know, sometimes it's flexible, kind of like yours, where it's all wine friendly. And so, but not ever. There's a small handful that do it, and some are not doing it right now during COVID. We'll talk about that in a bit. But let's start. So the start of this conversation has to be Soder.
Yes.
Yep.
Soder they do one of, if the not best pairings in the valley. They source something like 80-90% of what they serve at their farm.
Yeah. Easily.
Chase worked there for a while, I heard.
Yeah.
You
Summers.
started that program. Did you start that program?
No.
Okay.
They hired a chef in. I can't remember from where. And then he was there for about a year, and then they hired Alex Daly on in 2016. And when he came on, he was looking for some help, and I had just left the Painted Lady here in Newburgh, and went to go help the Soder program. Pretty much just like, you know, Alex ran the provisions tasting, and then I helped with a lot of like the preservation projects, because they do have like that 4-acre farm where they're growing. Nadine is amazing. Biodynamic farming. She does, you know, like, I don't know, fucking 18 varieties of tomatoes and peppers
Wow.
and squash and zucchini and melons and corn and like she's all over the map, and berries, and like it's crazy what they do. And then the culinary team just gets to go out every morning, walk the field, pick what they want to use, and then bring it into the kitchen and utilize it.
They don't
Man,
know
that's
exactly
rough.
what they're doing that week because they don't know what they're gonna get.
That's-
And then it's like,
that's
oh, I
as
guess we're getting
cool.
30 pounds of tomatoes today.
Yeah.
We
Oh,
gotta
that's
do something.
amazing, though.
Soder has a dominant food program
Yeah.
in the valley. It's
just-
one of like
And
they
with their
just are
chef
so
Sarah
dedicated.
now, she's so awesome. And just like, you know, we as people that you get to talk to guests quite a bit at the end. A lot of times we get guests that, you know, hey, where do we go? Where should we go for lunch or whatever? Like, hey, like if they're not already booked, you should call Soder and try to do a tasting, because like Sarah's gonna blow your mind with food. The wines are killer, and if you can put the two together, that's like the whole experience that the Willamette Valley can offer.
Yep.
Yeah, they provide the amazing food, of course, and the staff typically is really well trained. So you get a dedicated staff member who wants to sit down with you, and it's an intense experience. They're
Hour and a half
Yeah.
set aside.
At
They'll get as
least
nerdy as you
they're
want.
very
Right.
dedicated. It's not what I would call a laid back experience. So if you want to chill out, I'm talking to you. If you want to chill out, don't go to Soder.
Yeah.
Okay, because
Don't bring a bachelorette party to Soder.
no, don't. If you just want to drink with your friends for the day, this is not the place to go.
No.
Because
if you want to learn about wine, do it.
right. Exactly.
But with that said, like, I think all of us can think of, like, when I think of Soder, I think of people that you can think of so many wineries where, like, oh, those people, they make great Pinot, but their Chardonnay's fine. Or those people, their bubbles are great. Everything else is okay. Soder, they don't make a bad wine. Like, from their bubbles to their Chardonnay to their, what's the one that's the Alsatian blend white? Silver Lining.
Silver Lining, yeah.
So good. To their Pinots are also exceptional. So, like,
Okay, Hallie, I hope you're watching. We can come up and record up there anytime if you want.
Yeah.
If you want to
Well, and a lot of places claim farm to table. Hard.
oh, no, they're.
That is actually farm to table. Like,
Yeah.
One of their chefs told me that I don't think it was like an actually like graphed out number, but not like 96% of the food that
There
they
you
do is them.
that's amazing.
And when it's
We actually
not,
went to
it's
the ocean
local
and got
farms.
the sea salt. And, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
They probably did.
Yeah.
All right, number 2, Antica Terra.
Awesome
You bet.
pairing.
Yeah.
They've been at Keeler Estate this summer.
Yeah.
They bring a chef on location and then drive the food up in an ATV up to the platform overlooking the Amityville Hills,
Unique experience.
which is gorgeous. And the wines. I mean, talk about quality of wines. Antigua Terra. Maggie's a genius.
Kills it.
Amazing.
These are expensive wines,
Yeah.
but they deliver.
Right.
But that,
They're
that
really
tasting
good.
without the pairing, just that tasting alone,
Right.
blows people's minds.
Is
The
there a-
view, the experience, the wines, the knowledge they get when
Right.
they're there.
Well, and when you talk about the number
Intimacy.
of winemakers in the valley that actually have a very real cult following, there's very few. Maggie
Yeah.
is one of those.
Oh yeah, she gets people in who are
You
like.
mention
Antigua
her
Terra.
name all over the country. People know Antigua Terra. They know Maggie. Super small production.
Yeah, and so they have 2 things. One's like the lunch. You can do a lunch with them, and I think that's like at least 150 a person or something like that. It's pricey.
Yeah.
And then but then they also have the collective tasting, which is 95, and that's lighter on food but still well crafted, very nice. Of course, the delicious wines, and again, staff that's
On
very
top of it.
well trained.
Yep.
They do a great
Their
job.
staff are storytellers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one of my best buds, Tynan, is
Yeah.
running their
Yep.
Keeler Estate program
Yep.
now, and like, I would ask him to, if I had children, to read books to my children. Like, that's the kind of storyteller
Tynan,
he
will
is.
you,
Like,
will
it's
you
just
eulogize me at
He
my
was a
funeral?
preschool,
Yeah,
he was a
exactly.
preschool teacher.
But
at
you
one point,
googly.
actually.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Didn't think it was gonna be a Googleizer.
Yeah.
Is there a more expensive rosé in the valley?
How much is it?
I don't know.
Something.
It's,
I mean,
it's
is
pretty
it a
much a
rosé?
light.
No, it's not 90
It's
bucks.
pretty much
We'll
a
look it
light
up on the
Pinot,
break.
though.
Sweet
Oh.
baby Jesus. It can't be $90.
But it's also like over like
It's
I
a
don't know,
Pinot,
It's been a
pretty
while
much.
since I've tasted it, but it was like 48 hours of skin contact, and
Okay.
Yeah.
it's beautiful.
It's so good.
$90.
It's big, yeah.
Dude,
Well,
okay.
good for them.
On every
Good
level.
if you can get
They're
it.
selling it.
Yeah.
Sells out.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
That's it.
Sells out.
Good if you
man.
can
Who
get it.
cares?
Sweet
Create
baby
the
Jesus.
demand.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good,
They
good
can sell
stuff.
their wine for whatever they want, man. Honestly.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it makes
Maggie
my
can
job
sell
harder,
it.
but
Yeah.
it makes
Right.
my
Yeah, we
and
did
as
a
tour
winemaker
operator.
dinner with
Yeah.
her, and she's just
He was one of the first.
and, like the way she like comes up in the kitchen, interacts with us, and then like goes into the dining room and talks with the guests. It's like you're a professional. Definition of professional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
People do not typically leave Antica Terra unhappy. Very rare.
No.
You pull up in that, at the winery, you pull up in that janky ass parking
Looks like the
lot.
beginning of a scary
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah. Like, what the fuck? It looks like a place that
Yeah.
makes
You
pallets.
want me to
Yeah.
walk
not like
Where?
world class wine.
I'm gonna.
But actually, people, it's quite the opposite. After Antigua Terra, people are like, where are we going next?
Right.
And you're like,
Oh, this person's
I
compensating with a fancy building because they can't back it up with their wine.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
That's all the
different-
tastings
I
they've
see
had
what
until
Yeah,
then and
different
after
situation.
that. Or a lot of them.
Speaking of Antica Terra, they ran tastings 3 years ago or 2 years ago out of the
That's right.
downstairs room.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
right.
okay.
Because originally their tastings are in their barrel room, and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
during harvest, it's too full of barrels
Right.
to do tasting. So they actually like lease a different like keeler now,
Right.
and they did it out
Barley
of our
and
place
Vine last year.
Barley and Vine last
Which
year.
is, I was a bartender there at the time, so I got to drink.
Yeah. Well, they have the
that's where I
harvest.
got
They have the
familiar with
harvest
it.
house now.
Yeah.
Out on Sunnycrest or
right down the
whatever.
street.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
exactly.
awesome.
Cool spot.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. Number 3, Saint Innocent. This was one of mine. Mark Vlasic,
Yeah.
who's the owner winemaker out there, trained chef,
OG.
loves to cook.
Awesome.
I mean, this guy, yeah, he's been around a long time. Yeah. So you can go to their new property out at, it's technically Jefferson, Oregon, but it's right down the street from Willamette Valley Vineyards, which is in Turner, but geography down there, I'm
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah. Plug it in.
Yeah.
And they've got like a cabin. So if you do the lunch, if you do the winemaker's lunch, they've got like a separate cabin, and you go down there and Mark prepares all the food, and it's a whole it's a whole show. Very cool experience. I definitely recommend it for anybody who's staying down there.
Yeah.
One of the things I like to do is pair either St. Innocent or Willamette Valley Vineyards with a little hike out at Silver Falls,
Nice.
which hopefully isn't totally burned to a crisp. I know the fires were pretty damn close. I don't know, but
I'm not
we'll.
sure, but yeah.
So if you're a hiker, that's a great little pairing. It's a great day. You go out, hike around Silver Falls for an hour or two, even whatever. I mean, there's short hikes and everything. Go have a food pair tasting at St. Innocent, and spend a couple hours there. Granted, those wines, I don't know how many St. Innocents you've had. They need to sit. They're right out of the chute. You're like, whoo! This needs some time. This is some harsh shit.
Tighter
like
than a nun's asshole.
yeah.
Oh God.
Is that the quote from Sideways?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
If somebody orders a fucking Merlot, I'm leaving.
Yes.
that-
I will not
movie.
drink below.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the best
You're
part
the
ever.
person from this group I would have expected to say that.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you for that. So St. Innocent, highly recommended. Oh, and they have they have a good food program in general, so you can go and get butcher boards. And I looked on their website today, and apparently they're offering like a burger now. You can order their burger, and I might need to get back down there because we are doing a burger episode.
Let's go.
I want to do like a
yeah, we're
burger
doing a burger
smackdown or something because I care very much about this
Hey, when you do that,
burger.
let us know, and
Yeah, we're
maybe we'll
competing.
craft one.
But if
Put
you
a-
make
put a
Stefan a
burger in.
Let's
burger,
do
just
an
don't
Iron
put too
Chef
much
where
cheese on his
burgers the
burger.
secret
Well,
ingredient.
Not too much cheese.
we do
Yeah.
we do food cook-offs between me and him.
Oh, all the
We've done
time.
like 4 or 5 of them, and burgers was one of
Smackdown.
them.
Yeah.
Smackdown.
Yeah.
I'm
We'll
all about
invite
Smackdown.
a panel of guests who were just like friends, and we'll plate all the food, not in front of them, send it out so
Fully
they have no
blind
idea
to
who it
them.
is, blind tasting with the
You have my number.
Yeah,
scorecard.
full scorecard.
You have my
and,
number.
Yeah, like
We're
That's
even.
so
We're
awesome.
even
We're
right
like
now.
You know what?
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
gonna bring my mom as my date because that
Oh,
woman
she
loves
is-
nothing more than critiquing
Perfect.
pretty much anything
Yeah.
at all
Perfect.
times.
Love it.
Speaking of
So,
cellar
and my
St.
daughter.
Innocent wines,
Oh, I was
though,
gonna say Brazil.
I was searching about 2 or 3 years ago for a birth year Oregon Pinot, and the one I finally came up on was a Magnum 1994 St. Innocent
Hell
Pinot,
yeah.
which is in my cellar up there.
Wow.
Waiting to figure out which birthday I'm gonna open that on.
Yeah.
They hold up. Those are
Yeah.
wines that do hold up. Sockelblosser.
Yeah. Cool
Yep.
food program.
Yeah,
Uh,
dedicated. They,
everything
Yep.
from small bites to like an actual paired tasting.
the farm and forage.
Farm and forage.
How long have they been doing it?
A
God.
couple years on the farm and forage.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
At
I did the
least-
farm and
at
forage when they
least 2.
first started it.
Yeah.
And that is different than Soder and some of these other programs, pair tastings. You are in their kitchen, and they can take, I think, up to 8 people around this table, and the chef is right there.
Yep.
Talking through the food, serving it to you, boom, boom, boom. Then they have another server come and pour the wines.
Yep.
It's very intimate.
Dinner and a show.
Yeah. I mean, I loved it. I thought the food was very solid, very good, and it's like 2 hours easy.
Yeah.
And then Sockelblosser now they've got a menu like mac and cheese. They've got meatballs. They've got of course butcher boards and stuff. They've stepped up their game, food program wise as well.
Nice.
So, and the last one,
Stoller.
Stoller,
One
Yeah.
of our good friends is part of their chef team.
Chef Daniel.
Stoller, though, with their expansion, they've increased their food abilities, which has been pretty cool to watch. Because Stoller tends to be more casual guests that also want food in the middle of the day. And one of my encouragements to guests is, look, if you're going to stop for lunch and you're going to pay X number of dollars for food and you're probably going to buy a drink, like it comes out to almost the same amount of money if you just wrap in what would have been one tasting and whatever you paid for lunch.
Yeah, some of them.
Go do the paired sit-down experience.
Yeah, the guest. So I think it's Stoller. They call it the gastronomic
Yep.
experience. Good experience. 125, something like that. But they also have sandwiches.
Yeah.
That you can buy, of course, and butcher boards and everything. And which brings us to the last point is, so those are kind of designated food tastings, but then there's other wineries that have cool food programs.
Yeah, true.
Brooks
is one.
For quite a few years, they've had a great food program, like a menu, tasty food, kind of expensive, but good.
Brooks also has non-COVID years, obviously, but they do pizza Friday night.
Yep.
Club parties every Friday. They do the brick fire oven out there on the back deck. Cool parties.
Yeah. And their white wine program. Just off
oh
the
my
chart.
God.
Yeah,
the
the
Riesling.
Riesling.
Sign me up.
More white
All
wines
day
than
long.
anyone else.
Claire
Yep.
kills it. Like
Yeah.
she's too good.
I love Brooks.
Willamette Valley Vineyards.
Left Coast
They have a
Cellars.
menu.
Oh, yeah, Willamette
Left
Valley
Coast.
Vineyard.
They
Yep.
do the pizzas on. They do the pizzas on the weekends and then like paninis or something during the week.
Yep.
Bergstrom pre-COVID.
Bergstrom
That
pre-COVID does the
tasting.
Echelon. Serene has the 45th Parallel,
Yep.
which is very grand tasting, and I've
Yep.
heard really good things about that.
And you're
Yeah,
tasting
tasting
Oregon
I've done
wines
that.
next to Burgundian wines.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So, not during COVID. There's a few more choices.
Right.
Fairsing has had their St. Helens tasting. They
Yep.
called it, which was
They do their picnics
very
too.
nice.
And I
Yeah.
think they've even been doing that through COVID.
at Fairsing
Yep.
picnics.
Pretty
Yep.
sure.
So there's a few options, a few less during COVID, but sometimes it's hard to leave out like a Red Hills Market because I imagine in my head people come back from their trip and they say, "Oh, I went to Oregon and we had a great time," and their friends say, "Oh, we've been to Oregon before. Did you go to Red Hills Market?"
Right.
And I'm like, "Oh, no, we didn't. We ate at a vineyard." "Oh, you have to go to Red Hills Market." Like,
Yeah.
the place is kind of like a landmark.
What does their sign say? It's like 80,000 roast beef sandwiches sold
Right.
or something like that.
How many served? Yeah, it's so.
So even
That's
on
the
nights that we're not
balance,
doing dinners here, we'll tell people, "Hey, Red Hills Market's right down the
Right.
street. Order it to go. Bring it back up here. Like, eat your dinner with a view, and it's
Yeah.
gonna be kick-ass."
Or
Yeah.
order to go and eat there.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
Just so you don't have to wait.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it can be an hour wait.
Oh
easy,
yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Even for like
Man.
And they do
counter service.
catering. Like they have a badass like vintage truck with the wood fired
Yeah.
oven on
Yeah.
the back
Yeah.
of it that
Yeah.
they pull up. Like
I know. We
They
need to
kill
get
it.
Jody on.
We'll get Jody. on.
Yeah.
Well, and there's
Yeah,
nothing.
now's the time to
I
do
do
it.
want
He's
to
killer.
say bringing like snacks into the winery is cool, but if you're gonna go and you're gonna pay for wine, you're already wine tasting. Why not buy some really good food that a really good chef is making
Right.
Right.
specifically for
a
the wine you're
serious
drinking?
chef.
Right.
Exactly,
Yes.
serious chef. All right, we got to wrap this up. We will be right back with what's beautiful and what's brutal. Welcome back to Haas Brutality. We just ate some really yummy stuff that Chase and Zach cooked. I think, or Zach cooked. Zach
Yeah.
cooked. Jake?
Yeah.
Both of us.
We're a team.
Very, very tasty. What? Short rib, but obviously there was more than that. Explain.
Yeah. So, local Pacific Northwest beef, short ribs, cooked in actually literally Oregon Pinot. 3.5, 4 hours braised on top of some heirloom white beans, cooked in some, like we talked about earlier, some local tomato sauce that we make and can in house. Every summer, part of what we do is preservation. Summers in Oregon are extremely rich in food. And so we utilize that. And we've already canned over 100 pounds of tomatoes sauce this year.
Wow.
Green bean pickles, cucumber pickles, sweet and spicy chilies canned and everything. So
Lacto-fermented huckleberries.
yeah, we're all over the map. We do all sorts of fermentations, and like preservation's kind of what we do here as the hobby. If cooking is what we do for a job, the preservation side is our hobby
And
type
guests
thing.
benefit from that.
Oh,
Yeah.
of course, yeah, and probiotically we all do, I guess. Yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
Microbiome's a big topic.
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
There you go.
South Park.
Including like sourdoughs and everything. So we really try to utilize what we can. And so local beef for the short rib, heirloom white beans underneath that, cooked in some of the tomato sauce from the guys at Pollinate. That we finished with some of our homemade chili miso.
Also from the Pollinate Boys.
Yeah, chilies
I'm
last
gonna have
year.
to cut in a picture of the Pollinate Boys because they're
Yeah.
hilariously good looking.
Oh,
and
Oh
like,
my god! Oh, they've been
you guys have a
beautiful
brand.
boys.
Best.
You
Also,
guys have
show-
a brand.
Show a picture of them two years ago to now. The vascularity.
Have
in
they
their
Oh,
just
arms.
got
just
more yolk?
amazing.
The shirtless pictures in their garden
Oh.
have become more and more
John,
frequent.
They don't give a
you
fuck.
slay me.
COVID's
I
been
know.
good. Yeah, I know. Every time you walk in, I'm like, God damn it, I need to do some curls. Fuck. But so chili peppers from them last year made into a miso, and then now we season our food with that. Instead of using just salt, we'll throw in a spoonful of chili paste miso, and that's what we season our beans with. So
It was
very
so
simple, but also not. A lot goes into it, but it looks on a plate as simple as it can be, which is
A
something
lot
that
of
we kind of
pre-work.
yeah, exactly. All the work as a chef is
Yeah.
done as a prep.
Yeah.
You do all your prep, and then you have like 5 minutes of being a star.
Right,
type
and then
thing.
you have great ingredients that then you just don't fuck it up.
Exactly. You know, you bring in what you can. As here in the Willamette, we get an amazing summer of the best ingredients like I've seen, and our job is to literally not fuck it up.
It's the same thing with winemakers.
Yep.
In wine, though, I mean, it's credit to the farmers.
Yeah.
We're lucky enough here to have a farmer winemaker, which is pretty awesome. But and backstory on that too, Ryan Hannaford, our winemaker, was the vineyard manager for a couple years at Eveningland. What we're drinking right now, the 2017 La Forêt.
Delicious.
La Forêt is, don't fully quote me on this, but if you walk up, if you've ever done a vineyard tour there, their vineyard is largely on a hill. And if you walk all the way up that hill, then you'll get up and you'll think it's done, like, oh, this was all the vineyard, but then back, hidden behind these trees, is another portion of the vineyard, which is the La Forêt portion of their vineyard. They don't always, this is the first vintage they've ever made a La Forêt specific wine. I believe it's usually been blended into their Sumum, but, or into their, is it the Sumum?
One of the two.
Yeah.
Sumum or the source.
Yeah, sorry, into the La Source.
Yeah.
But this year they made a La Forêt vineyard specific, and
Yeah.
I believe this wine has, I believe everything in 2017 from them has 0 new oak on it. Just something that when they were tasting the grapes going into it, they didn't think it needed it. So,
No, it's marvelous.
but yeah, super
Do you know what it retails
beautiful,
for?
delicious wine. You can't get it. I don't.
They're sold out.
Sold out of it.
Yeah.
But
Do you know what it would retail for?
I think around the 75 to 85.
no, I think it was in the 90
Okay.
to 115.
That does
Up
that's,
there.
sounds about right.
Yeah.
Up there.
It's
Yeah.
tasty as
That's
shit.
gorgeous.
It was up
Yeah.
in.
Not as much as the Sumum Shard, but close.
Right.
It's not going to
delicious.
replace their Anden because nothing can, because it was again a specific block of their vineyard. But
Right.
I think it's going to be when they do it that like in
Gotcha.
that price point. Is the
Okay, now I need to back up for just a second.
Yeah.
You cooked the what's it called?
Short rib.
Short rib in Pinot
Yeah.
in roached
Yeah.
wine.
Yes.
cooked.
Cooked wine. So because it had been stored improperly,
Yeah, yeah.
Used
Yeah.
it for cooking. Apparently some people believe that you have to use good wine when you're cooking, like a Bourguignon
Yeah.
or whatever. I think that's bullshit. My dad's always said that's bullshit.
Yeah.
When you've got oxidized wine, that's the shit you use.
Oh, so here,
Or cooked
what
wine,
we'll
whatever.
use is whatever we might have left over after the weekend. We have a few days of bottles that aren't going to last. We're going to use that immediately. Then we have our source of cooked wine that we have from, whomever. I've come up in a lot of nice fine dining restaurants. Very rarely were they bringing in $45 fucking bottles of wine to cook in.
No.
It was always the cheapest shit that you can get. Usually came in a gallon
Vella
or
or
a box.
Franzia.
Gallo.
Yeah,
or
Gallo,
whatever.
exactly, or something along those
Or
lines.
just stumps,
But
people
the one-
leave at the
The one
table
thing
on
you
the table.
don't use, in my opinion, and blind me on it, I might not even know. You don't use cooking wine to cook with.
Something that's labeled cooking
Exactly.
wine.
Don't use that
I've never
shit.
used that in my life.
But
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
use a $5 or $2 chuck, something you get from Trader Joe's, and you're fine.
easy.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's such bullshit.
Oh yeah.
You see the like YouTubers or
such a
whatever,
bougie
like,
thing to
oh,
say,
if you're
too.
not, if it's not good enough to drink, it's not good enough for your food. Fuck you! Like,
No.
get out of here.
I will drink that bottle while I'm cooking,
Right.
and then open something else up for everybody else.
Yeah.
You know, but
like you're
that's
gonna
it.
use
Yeah.
that. You're gonna use that. Big Table Farm Chardonnay for your risotto.
Not
No.
happening. No.
But people
not
do that.
sharing for
People
the
are
family.
doing
I think it
No,
also
or,
it does
clams
make
or
sense
whatever, yeah.
for some home cooks to either you open up something and you just leave it in your fridge and that's what you cook with. I remember when we lived together, we would have like fucking
absolutely.
7 bottles of
Yeah.
wherever you worked that we couldn't drink anymore that would just go in the fridge for when we
Yeah, my house is the same.
Plans are written.
At the
Like,
same time,
I'm not gonna
for
keep
those
drinking
people
this.
that don't want to do that, yeah, use a wine that you're going to drink because you're not making 20 pounds of beef short ribs like we were. You're making 5. So you're only going to use a quarter of a bottle of wine.
Sure.
Yeah.
And then you drink the rest of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
But if you are
point.
going to use it all, like, yeah, don't pull something from your cellar to cook with.
Right.
Don't put it down the drain is the real issue. Like if it's a wine that you're drinking, don't throw it away if you accidentally left it out for 2 days. Try to utilize it in cooking.
One of my favorite dishes that Ian and I think Wesley have smelled from like a block away is the recipe Jacques Pepin. It just calls for a bottle of red wine, like a stew, basically, and I mean it's all. I take like stump, and I combine them all. It adds up to a bottle.
Yeah.
Bam, and it's delicious. Yeah, it's
Exactly.
all just old
Yeah,
stuff.
and a lot of times when you're cooking with wine, a lot of times you're just trying to utilize the acidity in the wine, and so there's a lot of ways even around that if you don't even have wine. And so it's more of just like a, if you're using a light Pinot versus a big cab, at the end of the day, when you put enough butter and salt and other chicken stock or beef stock in it, you're not going to be able to blind what fucking wine you're using on it.
What year was that?
Based on the nose,
I'm thinking,
Even Raj
The
Par's crazy
69
palate can't do that.
Yeah, it doesn't exist. Like you just put it on, high heat and it's been boiling for 2 hours.
yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
Get
It's
outta
not
here with
wine
that.
anymore.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
reduced grape juice.
Anyway, good to put that to rest, and I
Yeah.
was glad to hear. Yeah. Anyway, so. All right. What's been beautiful? What's been brutal? And beautiful. I mean, it's harvest. We've been talking about harvest and various things. Seeing the wonderful footage and the pictures of harvest coming in, people just having a ball out there. There's some great fruit out there. There's a lot of passionate people that are going to end up making some fucking awesome wines this year.
Yep.
I'm going to cut in some photos that people are sending me. It's just a great time to be in the valley. Anybody who's visiting right now they're gonna see fruit coming in and see the process happening, the magic.
The energy's just different this time of year.
Yeah.
We're all fucking exhausted.
True.
Like totally tired. But there's this thing about you farmed all year and finally your product's coming in and you're getting a little glimpse of what your potential end product could be. And everyone's accomplished this thing together. Like we've put in the 10, 12 hours and we did it. And this is the latest hang time, I think, since 2011.
It's crazy. It's the 6th of October,
Right.
and
We're still not all the way
Still on
in.
the vine.
Yeah.
So we're looking at potentially something that would nod towards a traditionally cool Oregon vintage.
that's the thing it's crazy is like with the smoke and everything.
Right.
Well, and
This
I think-
vintage is gonna fucking rock.
I think part of the whole thing we're all feeling too is like, in a normal year, there's a ton of uncertainty, right? We're always dealing with uncertainty in the wine industry. This year was crazy amounts of uncertainty.
Right.
Not only were people stressed about their fruit coming to, ripening on time and
the
fucking
normal uncertainty.
Yeah, birds, pests, everything
Not
else they have to worry
having-
about.
Small
Mold,
clusters.
mildew.
Yeah,
Yeah.
now
Yeah.
they got
Tough
now they
spring.
got their
Right.
COVID issue. They got to figure out a program to sell their wine, tasting,
No
direct
harvest
to
interns?
consumer. Harvest interns are gone. Fires happen right before harvest. I mean, seeing people, to me, the videos around the valley of just people's like 2020 done, got the fruit in the barn. It's like, it just is a lot of relief to me, and it's it's just another one of those reminders that like these people are they're putting their lives on the line every year. They sign up again to, that's all they're relying on for their income.
Literally pulling mortgages out on their homes to pay for this year's worth of whatever that equals.
That's going all in. And I mean,
Yep.
I used to try and explain this to people, and they thought I was bullshitting them when I was selling Cody's wine, but people, and Cody does very well, but I mean, to explain
Talking
how
about Cody from Purple Hands.
Cody, right. So how deep you have to get to go all in by yourself, buy vineyards, make the wine yourself. I mean, it gets like, and so to see these people harvesting and everything is just.
And there's so many of those people out there.
That's
there
our
are
valley.
the
That's
big
who we're
names, but the majority of it is not those big names.
Yeah.
Yep.
Not those big pocketbooks. There's people doing it by the skin of their teeth.
Yeah.
And like with COVID, it's been a very much like you learn to adapt or you don't. And that is one thing that I've really, come to embrace about 2020 or the COVID year is the ability as an area, as a neighborhood, as a community, as a valley, that I've seen so many people have to change, and not only just have to, but willing to change.
Yeah.
And that's not,
Yep.
that doesn't exist everywhere.
Right.
The ability to have the willfulness to change and adapt doesn't exist everywhere.
Right.
And people are doing it out here to make sure that they, one, can make $1, two, can produce something that they're proud of.
Right.
And whether that's food
Sure.
or wine or hospitality or medical industry or wherever that is, right now we're all affected by what's happening. And the ability to just learn and adapt has been incredible.
I mean,
Well,
how many restaurants
I
had to
agree.
pivot this year?
Right.
From doing, they don't do tasting menus anymore. It's COVID. To having to do either to-go tasting menu style food or to-go boxes if you cook yourself. But
Right. Well, on top of people adapting, we've seen a lot of people stepping out and taking care of their neighbor
Yeah.
in a very community-centric way that in normal years, the challenge just hasn't been there. We're all so fucking comfortable in our routines and what we have available to us. And it's been
Shout
Kind
out-
of showing what we're made of. Yeah.
shout out to Paul Loesch from Reddick Wood for
Yep.
everything he did during the fires.
Paul's a badass.
And Wes.
We'll try to get him
Seriously,
on.
and Wes and
Yeah.
Renegade and everyone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was crazy.
All right. Thank you, Ian. 5 minutes. Brutal. What's been brutal? We'll cover this real quick. Well,
Fruit is still hanging in some people's vineyards.
and it's going to stay that way.
Yeah, they're not
So-
going to pick.
Go ahead.
There's a handful of notable names, of
would know
whom
them.
I have not talked to a spokesperson, so I'm not gonna throw that out there. But we're all gonna recognize it. A couple months down the line, it'll be public knowledge. Have just written off their entire Pinot production vintage. Some got whites in early enough; they're able to press whatever. But there's a handful of big name producers that are leaving combined hundreds of acres of Pinot Noir on the vine.
Wow.
And first reaction to that is like, what the fuck are you doing? That hurts the vintage. That hurts the brand. That hurts the organ. That hurts Willamette Valley. But there's more to it than that.
Yeah, and it's tough. That some of them are playing and not playing in like taking advantage of a system, but in some regards, you had to balance between when and where insurance was actually going to cover your losses and when it wouldn't. And for some people, their insurance covered if your vineyard was consumed by flame. Some was if you had, noticeable damage, and you could. So, and again, I can't speak for any of the vineyards on why they made their choices. If the possibility of losing everything to smoke taint versus getting a portion of that back in insurance, I don't know. It's not,
and sometimes you can't tell for 3-4 years.
Right.
From what I hear about,
Right.
You
certainly can't tell for 3 or 4 months, or until
And
you get those lab samples
When
back.
it's an entire West Coast issue and there's only a handful of labs that can even do the
Right. And California
testing,
beat
which
us
is
to the
still
punch with all
experimental.
their samples.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, who's to say whether or not you have taint yet? Because you might be able to smell it during your ferment, but you don't have the lab data to do that. And if you send it in, it's not going to be ready until next year anyway,
Right.
because everybody's doing it.
Right.
Yeah. And then we also have vineyards that are canceling contracts. I mean, I know people personally who grow grapes and have spent $30,000-$40,000 in maintenance and growing those grapes this year.
Those sprays aren't cheap.
And and the people who, the wineries who had a contract with were like, no,
We're gonna back out of that.
we're backing out. It's in the contract that they can do that. And those people are hung out to dry. That sucks.
Yeah.
That's tough.
I mean, backing out of contracts in a year like this and just leaving your grape growers out to dry and they have no coverage, that fucking sucks.
That's right.
That's bullshit.
Right.
Yeah.
You got to help these people out somehow.
Right.
Even
Even if you're sharing the loss with them, but
Yeah.
leaving it all on their plate, that's food off their table. It's food off their vineyard.
I know
crews'
for a fact
tables.
Erath has done that to some people I know. I don't know else out there. Jim Bruneau, who hopefully we're going to get on soon, is working. I think it's called Oregon Solidarity, of working with people to find buyers for their grapes.
Well, didn't they do that rosé?
They did that.
The
Is that
solidarity
18?
rosé. Yeah.
Is that 18?
Yeah.
But yeah, and actually, it's a lot of California people who've backed out on our grapes up here.
Exactly.
And I think they're in the same situation this year. And again, he's going to hopefully talk about that when we bring him on. But fuck, that's bullshit.
Yeah,
That's
it's
bullshit.
Do you think that it will change the structure of how people write contracts for future vintages?
Hopefully.
Maybe, but I think one of the things Wes was talking about is how, or maybe it was you, Chase, about what your insurance is.
Right.
What your
What does it cover?
what does it cover?
What's the fine print say?
Yeah.
I mean, is it going to
How much are you going to put into the insurance?
Is it in general
for
are
the amount of coverage?
Are people now going to just carry higher rate of insurance to cover more percentage?
When you see things like folks in hurricane zones that get screwed because they had hurricane coverage but they didn't have flood insurance.
Yeah.
Right. And you're like,
Bye, New Orleans.
Yeah.
What?
See you never. Yeah.
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 Standard flood insurance, not
And-
tsunami insurance. Sorry.
Yeah, and it's just very much like on the, what you were saying, like, is it going to change? If not, how often is this going to happen?
Yeah, it's
Is this a once in 100 years? This is a once every 2 years,
It's almost like
Yeah.
we should have taken care of our planet.
yeah.
I know.
Hey, how about that? You think so?
Let's not
All
worry
right.
about it anymore, though.
Well, we're gonna hopefully revisit that in the next week or so, and that's gonna do it for tonight. Thank you to Jason and Zach for coming on.
Thank you.
for
all.
having us.
Delicious food,
Yeah.
amazing.
Thank you.
If you are enjoying hospitality, please like,
Smash the
subscribe,
subscribe.
follow, and share. Oh, we love the share. The shares just make us warm and fuzzy inside. So please
Please.
do that. And
Come to Black Walnut.
come
The
to
place
Black
is
Walnut. It's a
dope.
beautiful
This is
place.
amazing.
If you're
It's
interested in
amazing.
Black Walnut, check out our
Look at me.
website or Instagram.
Yeah.
There you go.
Stay up to
Good
date.
stuff.
Get on our
Yeah.
newsletter.
We will see you next time.